So let's do one more introduction round. Um, do you want to guide this, Jill?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we thought that it would be good to gather information by just saying if there's some project or group that you're working with that you would love to share
Or to introduce?
or to introduce. Yeah,
The
just
one-
a short introduction.
So, and I already started. So I
Yeah.
start like, so Jill, I, and Mayor Farian and MJ, we're part of the Dragon Breeding Turtle Island, US. It's one of the communities we introduce with project. We've been together. This is our 4 years. The original dream was to bring dragon dreaming to New York, and now we're like in various states, and we're just like still together. And this is first time we're doing an info session in Charlotte. So I'm gonna pass it to James.
All right, this is really great timing with the organization I work with full time. I'm doing some vision work with them the next few days, so that's like one really practical. I'm like looking what makes sense to use, what maybe just will be in the background. I'll pass it.
Yeah, hi everyone, Emily. I would like to offer up, I want to start my own 12-step program in Charlotte for internet and technology addiction. I currently do the ones that are online, and I really am desiring the fellowship in person. So I would love to Dragon Dream, or just kind of that be my intention that I'm bringing here.
Who would like to go next? You can.
Or do I need to pass it? Or
You can, if you want.
Yeah, I think I'll pass it to Montana. Because I see her.
I knew you were gonna say me.
Her name is right there, sorry.
That's okay. So a couple of things. One, Kimmy, Svetlana, Sal, and I have kind of started working on different celebrations throughout the year. So that's where Svetlana invited us to join this group so we can dream up a year of celebration. So I think that's such a beautiful thing. And then on kind of a personal note, just dreaming of what I want the future to hold. I think I've been kind of really stuck in being just right now. Well, I'm just kind of all over the place. So it's kind of like, what do I want for the future and how do I want that to look? And so just kind of envisioning what my next year looks like and kind of dreaming that up in more of an intentional way instead of just me going with the flow and just trying for things to happen. So yeah. I'll pass it to MJ.
Oh, hey. I'm kind of in a transition right now, so I don't have any present projects, but I've worked with Dragon Dreaming with my instrument company, One Tone, and it definitely helped us get over a few hurdles and work better together. So um, I'll just leave it at that right now.
It's hard to hear.
Who else? You still can't hear me? Shit.
You can, but it's very
All
close.
right, I can come back in. Did you hear what I? All right, so I don't have any present day projects, but the Dragon team worked with my One Tone team, which is five of us, to help us get better, to work better together, and to be more like a family, like we say we are. And I thought it was really super helpful, and I'm really grateful that for all the people that showed up to make it happen. It was pretty awesome. Um, who else? Who didn't go? Kimberly, perhaps?
I don't know.
Okay.
Kimberly, do you feel like talking? You can just, she wanted to mainly listen.
Are you chewing?
Kimberly, she's not feeling well, so she wanted just to listen. Okay, so who didn't go yet? Do you want to share?
Yeah, I just want to
Jill?
share that Dragon Dreaming has given me so much in any of the projects I'm doing. But the one that I'm most excited about personally right now is called Water Story Project. And I'm collecting stories people have about their experiences with rivers and creeks to sort of build a community of water stories and get closer to the waterways that are near them. And yeah, I'm really happy to keep engaging with Dragon Dreaming because I keep trying to re-dream it to include more people. So that's what I'm working on right now. Saad, do you want to say something you're working on at the moment?
I don't see myself as working on anything,
Yeah.
but I'm curious about new ways of being together and being myself with others, more with others.
Great. All right, thank you, everyone.
I can share too.
Marian, you didn't go. Sorry, Farian.
Okay. The latest project is I took a group out here through the whole Dragon Dreaming process over the course of 6 weeks. It's called the Forest Reciprocity Group. And I'm super excited about joining them in their project, which is to take small trees out of the forest to lower the fuel load to minimize forest fires out here, and then to create an industry of using those small timber for timber frame homes. And I want to be on the team that finds the land to build the first zero waste, the Church of the Holy Shit basically is going to live there. I'm going to have a church where we don't poop in the water because water is precious, and it's a perfect place to do it because this town has actually run out of water a couple of years ago. Like literally, they ran out of water. So I'm super excited about working. It's called Frog, FRG. Thank you.
Okay, so one of the practices we have, Jill, do you want to introduce it?
So before I introduce it, I just want to say it's so beautiful to hear all of the different reasons that people are here because it's so diverse, but they're all connected by something else that's very important in Dragon Dreaming as well as a few other practices, and that is that they involve something that's really good for the earth. Just even if it's making stronger communities, and something that is good for a community, even if it's, whatever your community is you're talking about. Each of us talked about one community and something that's really transformational for yourself. So even though the projects are so different, there's definitely a kind of a thread that's going through them all. Anyway, in Dragon Dreaming, there's something called a Pinakari, and actually I think Marianne is the queen of, to my mind, she's the one of the most incredible Pinakari leaders, with MJ in a close second, or equal. But I'll do it for now, and that is, it's a way to just pause. If you feel the energy in a group is going really low, or if it's going too high, too chaotic, people talking over each other, or just too high and chaotic, anybody in the group can call a Pinakari And what was the meaning of it's Aboriginal practice, and what was the meaning of the word, Marianne? Marianne?
Pinakari is the Noongar, which is one of the Aboriginal tribes in Western Australia, I believe, where Sean Croft is from. And it's the name for when the kangaroo puts their ears up to listen around them. So it's not just, it can also be done in listening to each other, not just in silence as a meditation. And I would just add to what Jill was saying is that we were talking about like dragon dreaming practices, and in this last facilitation I did, I realized it actually is a pretty revolutionary practice to incorporate in an organization the idea that at any moment we're all just going to be in silence and reconnect to ourselves. I reviewed 30 years of teaching in schools and political organizations, and I've never encountered anything like that, and I would love to find somebody who has.
And also that, and then we'll do it, but also that anyone in the group can call one at any time, which I think is also a very radical idea in a way. It's just a sort of equality that goes really, it's very honest in its just practice. So what happens is, do you want to actually describe the process? Or, yeah, if you want to. Okay. I'm gonna ask Marianne to do it because I think you'll do it better. So I'm inviting you.
I accept your invitation.
Thank you.
So the invitation is just to sit with your spine straight. Put your feet on the floor and pay attention to your belly. And just notice your belly going in and out with your breath. It's often helpful to close the eyes if you feel comfortable doing that, to shut out your other senses and just focus on listening. Maybe even sensing your breath coming in and out of your nostrils or your mouth. If you can notice the air quality changing after being inside your body and then coming into your body. And just pay attention to your belly and your breathing. And then when you're ready, just open your eyes and come back to the room.
Thank you. Thank you, Marianne. Okay, so now we're going to start our presentation. Jill and I have prepared some things, and we're going to start with a few slides just to first talk about the dragon dreaming. What is dragon dreaming? Okay, so I'm going to turn off the light. Let's set up because So you can see the slides. Can you see the shadow? Okay, maybe turn off the light here too. That's like the one.
Cool. No shared screen. We got a shared wall. I love it.
Old style.
Right.
Amazing.
Right, David, if you can. So. Can you see? Can everybody, could you move this a little quick? Can everybody see? And
Can the Zoomers see?
sit in the chair. Honey, sit in the
I
chair.
can see it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess we pinged
You can see, okay. So Dragon Dreaming, as you can see, this is the logo of Dragon that we have. So it's a kind of dragon that is a cycle. So there is always which turns into the spiral. So what is it? What is Dragon Dreaming? So it's both a philosophy and methodology. It was created by John Croft and Vivian Alanta, were husband and wife in the 90s. Sadly, Vivian Alanta passed away since then. But both of them worked in Australia with Aboriginal people from there, learning from them. And this is a lot of Dragon Dreaming comes from there. And they both, as you can see, worked already for organizations and tried to improve, essentially it's for the earth. So they developed this methodology and philosophy together, and it became the project methodology of Gaia Foundation that they started in Australia, and it still exists. It's a meta model of methodologies to assist change makers and environmental activists on the Great Turning. And it's a living systems approach to organizational culture.
Zoomers, can you see the screen?
And hear me.
We can see it, but it's kind of out of focus.
If you want, I can
Help?
Yes. Do you want me to have it so I can share the screen with you?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a copy of that PowerPoint on this laptop?
I opened it on this computer, that's why it doesn't work.
Can you?
If you move the computer a little closer, it might clear up the.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
So what does it include? Because as I said, Dragon Dreaming, it's a kind of integrated different things. So it's like one part of Dragon Dreaming is the cultural and spiritual aspects from the Australian Aboriginal people, indigenous cultures. But it also includes elements and aspects of the Gaia theory, deep ecology, quantum physics, system theory. And it also includes what we know, like more traditional Western organizational and business aspects.
What you said the Great Turning earlier?
Yeah,
What does that mean?
Yeah, I'll get to this. So the three principles of Dragon Dreaming, do you want to talk about this, Joe?
So this is what I was alluding to with when people were introducing their projects. So these three principles are equally, it's like a pie divided in thirds. They're equal in terms of importance and relationship. So there's personal growth, a commitment to your own healing and empowerment. There's community building, which is for strengthening the communities of which you are a part. For some people that might be more than one community I'm thinking. And service to the earth, which is enhancing the well-being and of the earth and flourishing of all life. And yeah, why the name Dragon Dreaming?
So that comes from Australian Aboriginal myths and legends about the serpent, the rainbow serpent. And they were talking about, there was like this prophecy or legend, there will come the time when the rainbow serpent of the planet Earth will awaken and the people will awaken, and then we will create a new world that is based on like alignment with nature. That's why like it's dragon dreaming, so it comes from their like cultural tradition, but also there is a lot of traditions around the world that talk about similar legends, and also use dragons for that, or other mythical creatures that kind of prophesized about that. So hold on, like you asked about the great turning. This is kind of related to this. So what is great turning? So do you want to talk about this, Jill?
Again, I think, yeah, I know, I think Marianne has steeped herself in it, but it's the story, there's a great unraveling, which is when all systems and all, that the earth and the natural systems and our, really I think mostly because of our interactions, are unraveling. And, you know, a lot of people had seen this coming, but it feels like this time right now is really that crucial moment where it's happening in so many different ways. And then, Marianne, do you want to talk a little about the actual great turning, which is sort of the next?
Yeah, so part of this, I mean, John Croft's life story is pretty interesting, you know, his years of fighting basically imperialism in other parts of the world as a young activist, being in many, you know, situations where people are not part of the big countries and part of the small countries, and for trying to avoid political words. And he was working with the Gaia Foundation in Australia, which is a think tank to try to save, you know, the earth, or to make the earth more beautiful. And they recognized that a lot of the organizations that were coming out of the Gaia Foundation were burning people out. They were based on the same hierarchies that the systems that were extracting everything from the earth and making the earth ugly. They were using the same hierarchical approach. So the Aboriginal wisdom, but also Joanna Macy was a big part of the Great Turning as she was coming up with her work, which is the work that reconnects, which is based on the idea that the reason people don't do anything about making the world more beautiful is because they don't want to feel the grief by acknowledging how ugly it is. And so the work that reconnects is based also on systems theory. And she brought systems theory into this. So it's the great turning is that we are turning away from these industrialized methods of extraction and moving towards a regenerative culture. That's the win-win-win of the triangle we saw earlier, plus playfulness.
Yeah, so it's creating the regenerative culture. And, you know, this is the three wins, that everybody, the person wins, the community wins, and the earth wins. That's essentially what it's about. So then one of the generative questions would be, how can we encourage win-win-win relationships? And would you work with someone who doesn't want to play with you? And then there is all these games that people play over centuries. This is a really cool diagram that I like. So there is a lose-lose games. We can play one play, you know, there is this axis of courage and consideration. So like probably everybody experienced lose-lose games, right? Yeah, so then there is win-lose game, when you can play, but you won't play. So you don't have courage to play, but you would consider playing, right? And then there's lose win game when you know, you want to play, you have courage to play, but you know, you just can't play, you know. And it's, you know, it's about accommodating someone, right? Then another one, win lose is competing. So those are very known, familiar games that we're playing, right? And then win-win, that's the one that Dragon Dreaming is trying to encourage. So cooperation, collaboration, and co-creation. When we all can play this game and we want to play. Do you have any questions or comments about this slide?
Yeah, what's an example of something that, especially the top left or the bottom right?
Hi, Taylor. Come and sit over there. Here.
Taylor. So like a lose-win game, like Svetlana said, is when you're like accommodating the other person. So like, okay, so I can't really play this game. I'm not good at it, so I'm gonna lose, right? You're a basketball star. I'm not. So we're gonna play this game. You're gonna win. I'm gonna lose. Versus like, I'm so good and I'm so competitive. I'm gonna win. You're gonna lose. So they're basically, you know, different ways of losing, right? Or winning. So the difference between those two in my mind is one is like the competitive energy of trying to win, and the other is like the, you know, acquiescence energy of like, whatever, I'm gonna lose. And so the win-win is, you know, one of the maxims of Dragon Dreaming is that everyone's dreams come true and there's no compromise. And so whenever there's a seeming competition between two ideas within the dream, within the project, those two things are allowed to live together without having like extra meetings to resolve them. And this is part of the dragons dancing together to see how those things can find their own way of resolving themselves, which for me is very different than whether it was either consensus, which felt like a form of coercion in schools that I worked in, or schools where you voted and debated and had long, extensive meetings that went on forever just to solve one little problem. So in Dragon Dreaming, part of the win-win is that when those kinds of conflicts come up, because they will, because we have a premise of win-win, that everyone's dreams comes true, even if two things are not seemingly aligned, we let them dance together and see how they can resolve together. And then, yes.
Thank you, Mary. An example of win-win will be like even this intercession, like when I was planning it, like, you know, there are a lot of changes, like, and like Kimberly and Montana, they couldn't be a part of it, and I so much wanted them to be a part of it. And I kept thinking, how can this be a win-win game? And I didn't see a solution, right? And then like I just came up, like right now, this is a good example of win-win. Those people who wanted to be a part of it, they can still be part of it, but in different ways. And Taylor, by the way, like this is Taylor, who's just driving and just straight from work and running late, she can still be here. So this is an example like of a win-win situation. While like, in other cases, you know, in other cultures, people would say, well, no, if you arrive late, you cannot be a part of it, right? Or we only do Zoom meetings, or we only do in-person meetings. Like this is just like some of the examples of that. And the idea is not that like win-win is always the best, you know, because there is a room for, you know, competition sometimes, and even accommodating, even avoiding. Avoiding could be useful if you don't, if it's something dangerous, something not healthy for you, and it's better like not to do it, right? So it's not like win-win is the only game that we should play, but Dragon Dreaming release, we need to get better at those games, win-win games, because we have been primarily working with other combinations. As a, and then one more slide I'm going to show, like it's about levels of listening, which is very important in Dragon Dreaming. And Jill, do you want to talk about that or no?
No, I'll do it with you.
Okay. So I really like this slide because I'm very much like into like So in order to play those win-win games, we need to be able to hear each other, to be heard, to hear and be heard, right? And so there's a different practice we need to, and so in our evolution, and we have different levels of listening, which again, all of them have, time and space. It's not like one is, we need to erase the other, but the first one is like a politeness, a level of politeness, right? You see, so when, oftentimes when we come with our families, right, when we go on new people, like, oh, what's the weather is like, and like, how was your drive, and like, we talk about this, like, we listen for habit, those are also kind of things.
Or it's
So-
like when you say to someone, how are you? Which is so common, so you say, or someone asks you, how are you? And you just say, fine, or you even tell them and they're listening, but they didn't really want to know that, the real answer.
And, sometimes there is space for
It's
it.
appropriate.
Yeah, because
Yes.
sometimes, that's what you want, and that's okay, right? But another level of listening is like more like having a debate with someone. So listen from outside. So you're just having, there's healthy debates as well, like a word. And then another one, empathic one, is listen from within. So like factual debate, you listen from outside. So you're mainly exchanging the ideas, so that you're engaging with each other on the mental level, which can be very interesting and stimulating, right? And even like brainstorming, this kind of thing. And then there is empathic listening, when you listen from within, to kind of listen more like with the heart. And there's a little bit, it slows even down a little bit. And that's like one form of it is dialogue. And then the fourth one is generative. So we listen from the field, collective, and it usually generates collective creativity. It's more inclusive. Any questions about that? Comments?
I would just add that the thing about the collective field listening, generative listening, is a really big part of the dreaming and of, I think, the celebrating, where you're really listening in a way, not just to the other person, but everybody is listening to what's outside of everyone and not just what's inside of each other. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's been my experience in dreaming circles.
Yeah, and one last one, this I really like, and also dragon dreaming culture, like you said, like this Pinakario listening is one practice we have, and another one is this aha moments, like all this kind of that happen with this collective listening that generate ideas. And it's about like knowing, and then there is this also 4 spheres, like aha moments, they happen in those times when I don't know that I don't know. This is what I have, or I don't know that I know. Like, sometimes when we talk with someone and know, in about certain topic, and then you realize, oh, I didn't know that I knew about that. Somehow, like, so, and this is like an axis of between like conscious and competent. Yeah.
And part of the regenerative listening is that everybody knows what they know and everybody knows what they don't know, but there's this huge area of us not knowing what we don't know, but together we know a lot more. And that's part of why it becomes regenerative listening.
And also that this, a lot of it really revolves around becoming aware of what the words collective consciousness really mean. Because I think in some ways before working with dragon dreaming, like I knew intellectually what that meant, but I didn't know experientially what that really means. And so the whole thing also of not having the same definition of hierarchy is also about this kind of collective consciousness or knowledge. And it means that whatever projects or work you're doing now take on like it's a deeper dimension in a way, because it's not the dimension that our culture generally is used to thinking, working in. It's almost like a different physical space. That's how it feels to me. And so I think also, like, if you're dealing with this whole thing of, I'm thinking of what you said, Emily, about when we introduced ourselves and what we're working on, which maybe we can take a minute to recap for you and then for you to do, but for us, but you know, of like, it's one of the possible dangers of technology, of like just being dependent on technology. But on the other hand, I'm learning that even within that, there is some kind of collective thinking or feel. Anyway, I don't know if I don't know if it makes sense, but basically this way of operating collectively is really what I think what Dragon Dreaming is offering us to all explore. And that's kind of what makes it so intriguing and powerful at the same time. And that's why it's part of the great turning, because what's happening now is not working. It hasn't been working for a long time, but it's clear what's happening in our world is not working. And so the alternative has to really be taken from this kind of collective working, and that kind of knowledge is not new. Collective wisdom is not new. It's just tuning into it in this modern or universal way.
So let's take another moment of Pinakari, and Taylor will come back to you, okay,
Yeah.
for sharing, okay? I'll just want to move into the next part and after it. So now I'm going to introduce the Dragon Dreaming Wheel. So in Dragon Dreaming, as I said, it's a philosophy, a way of thinking about the world. It's also methodology. So we have certain tools and practices we use. And Dragon Dreaming Wheel is one of them. It comes from also Aboriginal cultures that come around the world. And I'm a very visual person, so we're going to play a little game with that. And Taylor, you're welcome to, if you want to move your chair, so if you want to be seen on Zoom, you can move yourself. Because now we're not going to be using the slides anymore. So this is, first of all, this is the dragon that I received as a gift from Bodhi. Some of you know her. She's I did the dreaming circle with her team. And this is from the Cherokee Nation, because Bodhi is part Cherokee, and she went there. And what we love about this dragon, like we said, like this is like this dragon dreaming in Pinakari. dragon and pin a card, so I go, listening mode, right? So I'm gonna start like building this dragon dreaming wheel and talking about it, because it shows the whole process, like how we work with it. There's different ideas about the colors, but I just kind of played with them. So it's kind of, there is like 4 directions of the world, but also what I like about it, to think about the middle is, it's really a spiral. It's always moving. It's not a static structure, but in this plane, this is what we can do, right? We have a 3D printer. Do you know about 3D printer, James?
I do.
We can create a different model. That would be interesting to think about it. So I love colors, but like in this case, I'm not very intentional. All right, but colors could also have meaning. For example, in some Native American tribes and also on Aboriginal, like there is, I'll just show you certain color code. Like, see, it could be these colors. There is white, and then there is a meaning for that direction, the world, with the direction of the world, like, like white for winter, and green for spring, red for summer, and so forth. All right, so we're gonna, there is 4 stages. So we start with meaning. If it's in your project, then there is. Then there is doing. I'm gonna turn it your way, right, so you can see it. And celebrate. And right now, to make it a little bit more fun, before I go further, you have all of these images here. And so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So I would like Cyan Taylor, you stay here. Maybe only you helping. Maybe Emily and Taylor, and James and Jill. So Emily and Taylor, you pick the image that you feel for you represents planning and doing, and put it right here.
Do we each pick one?
It's a teamwork. You have to decide together. Okay. So that's an opportunity for you. And James and Jill, you do the same thing for celebrating and dreaming. Okay. So, and let's do it in 2 minutes.
What comes to mind when you think of planning?
Can you zoom in on the pictures so I can see them?
Just one picture.
Oh, you need a.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe you could hold the pictures up to the screen.
No,
Stuff between these two, like I see faces in this one. I'm pretty little, so these faces are
Oh, yeah, like they're coming together at the end.
I like that. Girl for the celebrating.
I have like the idea that like planning has to be very like structural. So like
And would I just put it
I
there?
gravitate towards here.
Okay.
Well, we can dreaming.
Yeah, you can look around.
Oh,
Okay.
we were just
Sorry.
looking at
No, yeah, you can look at all of them.
Sorry, celebrating's already taken.
No worries.
Okay, so then dreaming. I feel like dreaming, in a way that ancient
Does this feel like it has a
tradition.
semblance of structure and theme? This one, yeah. It's also abstract enough to where you don't know yet.
You just
You don't know what it's gonna look like yet.
Yeah, like it feels like it's like expanding
That
out.
one?
Yeah.
either one.
I like that. I
I
thought that's a
like
good
Yeah,
one.
me too.
Yeah. Which orientation do you want?
Ooh, that's a good question.
This is how we saw it.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, so
You finished, right?
we're doing,
No.
Where's the picture for planning? Did you
Yeah.
put it right here?
She's
showing it. Yeah, I really agree with that one.
Yeah.
It's like so much movement.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good reason. It's interesting what the reasons are too.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you did it like I'm celebrating your teamwork. Look, you did it in time. That's exactly 2 minutes. Great teamwork. Okay. Now, please tell us, why did you pick these images, like Taylor and Emily?
Yeah, so for this, we
And
ended up,
lift it up and show them.
if you want to get a little
so
closer.
that's planning.
So we picked that one for planning because it kind of, I know Taylor said that she liked kind of like the different colors and faces, and like she thinks about people kind of coming together to like actually plan it. And then I also like a bit more of like, when I think of planning, like a bit more like adding structure to a plan. And so it kind of combines both like the abstract of like the flow with like some structural lines in it. So it kind of combined both of our like visions for planning.
Yeah, I agree. And with doing, there's a lot of commitment and with action.
Oh, yeah.
Rob,
Well, we both have pretty unique for the two pieces now. Do you want to talk about celebrating? Because you right away said you.
Sure. There's just something really joyous about the like movement and play. Yeah.
And then
I like the shadow too. That's an important part of celebrating.
This is what we picked for dreaming. Again, we both pretty much went to it right away. And I feel like it's very expansive, but doesn't feel like it has borders to it. But the clouds don't feel like they have borders. And what else would you say?
For me, there's like a openness and uncertainty with what's going to emerge out of the clouds.
Great, that's beautiful. So I hope you're all now feeling a bit more connected to all of these 4 aspects, because you envisioned and you thought about it. Now, also in Dragon Dreaming, we talk about when we work with a team that we want to work with it like on the projects. In order for project to be sustainable, we need to have at least 4 people or more, because ideally we want to have all of these people, because I say we can all do all of them, obviously. We can all dream, we can all plan and do and celebrate, but everybody has their own like excitement about something. You feel like either you're really, really excited about one particular part or you're really good at that, so both, right? So that's why, so that we say where there's dreamers and planners and doers and celebrators. And in Dragon Dreaming, we believe we need to have all of them in order to have a sustainable and regenerative project. Because in Western culture, like now, like culture where we live, pretty much, the most valuable aspects of project work or teamwork is planning and doing. This is what's valuable. But then projects and doing, it's interesting you pick these pictures because they actually require a lot of energy. You need to put a lot of energy, like look at all the shapes and forms, even like to draw them, like you imagine how much geometry or whatever time and energy is put into this. So this is why a lot of jobs in those kind of corporate world are, not sustainable, and people burn out, right? Because it's all about using energy. But celebrating and dreaming is about generating energy. So if you look at these pictures, you can feel it's regenerative. It gives the energy, it cultivates the energy that you can put into planning and doing. So now, just let's take a moment and just reflect and think for yourself, like, what do you feel like, what do you love the most to
What
do?
do you
out
feel
of
the
this?
most drawn to?
Right.
I'm pretty good at the planning one.
Uh-huh.
And it's so cool. I've done a lot of like change management work over the last year, so I'm thinking about how those models fit this model. It's very, very cool.
Yeah. Well, I discovered through being in Dragon Dreaming team that I'm primarily a celebrator. Didn't know that. Because really, like, you know, I feel like I'm never tired, get tired. Like, even if I'm tired, I still want to celebrate, you know, like, you know, kind of thing. Yeah. So now, and so each, so in Dragon Dreaming, everything we do is like a fractal, like, and if we start with the dreaming, which we don't have to start with the dreaming, but oftentimes if it's in your project, for example, like with you, Emily, you want to start a group. So then you would need to start with dreaming, and you would say, well, I have a dream to start this group, and you would think of your dream team and say, okay, let's get together at this day, at this time, and we will create a dream or a vision together. And that's how you would start, right? And in your case, James, we talked about your company that wants to start the new visioning for the next 50 years, but they're just completing their 45 years. So you would start with celebration because it's been a lot of things that have been accomplished. And there are some projects like Farian and I, we worked most recently with Frog, the Forest Reciprocity Group in California. And they've been already like dreaming a lot and doing also, but they felt like they need to do more planning and organizing so they can move forward. So they really wanted to start with planning, but even if you start with planning, you still revisit the dreaming. So it's not a static model, but so let's go with the case with Emily's project. So say, what's your dream?
Yeah, my dream again is to start a 12-step group in Charlotte for internet and technology addiction.
Great. So you would need to think of which people you want to be on your team, or you can also just put it out there and see who'd show up. But most important thing, that people who come need to be interested in this idea, right? Of course, you know, people who are not interested are. And then as you dream, what happens in dreaming, there's 3 processes that happen. Jill, would you read them, please? And maybe
So, there's awareness, motivation, and to gather information.
So that's what happens during dreaming stage. So that's why we dream. Because, do you have any questions about these? And actually, now that you worked so well with 2 people, let's see, 3 of you work and find the pictures for these 3 stages.
Oh,
Also
wow.
in 2 minutes.
Okay.
These 3?
Yeah.
I have a vision for the gathering information. I was thinking it could be that person that's got, it looks like they have stuff in their hands.
So what do you think?
Yeah, what do you guys
I
think
like
on
it.
that for gathering information?
I like it. Our hands are full.
But she's looking, she's still.
Oh, just jumped out.
How about motivation and awareness?
I think of this one for motivation, like I imagine wanting to get home or wanting to get the fish or.
You're going somewhere. Awareness is a very hard word to.
Yeah. I feel drawn to this one for awareness. Feels like different parts of yourself waking up. Oh, I like that a lot.
Cool.
I like that explanation.
Wow, you're getting better and better. A teamwork.
Yeah. Most recent, like.
Yeah.
Can I add something, Svetlana?
Yeah.
So yeah, Emily's project is a really good example of how it's a fractal, right? So the initial awareness is the stimulus she felt, and then the gathering information would be asking the dream team what would make it their dream also. Like, I have a dream, what would you need for this dream to be 100% your dream? And then the planning, the motivation would be everybody going around the circle and sharing what they would need for that to be their dream. And at the end, the celebration would be the review of the dream, and then you would retell that dream as if it already happened. So you go through all of those 4 phases within that one quadrant. And this is another way that it's built on life systems, because part of this is that every living cell creature is always doing this. Like, oh, what do I need right now? I'm thirsty. Where am I going to get water? Oh, I can send my hypha out into the soil deeper and find water. And then once you get the water, you take in the water and then you celebrate and like, oh, that was great. But wait, do I need more? No, that was enough. Or I need more. So now I go back to dreaming, planning, doing, and celebrating. So that's the other, reason this whole fractal system is based on life systems.
Fractal meaning that each of these phases, this is what we were talking about earlier, each of these phases has all of the other elements as well. But you're focusing, this is my understanding, you're focusing, like in the dreaming phase, you're focusing more on dreaming because that's what needs to happen to start. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't have pieces of all these other quadrants. And in fact, the way Marianne just described it, you can see the gathering information is kind of related to planning, but related to it in this context of dreaming.
I have a question on the group of 4. It's like, how do you get the group of 4?
Yeah, well,
That's the best question of all. So can I respond to Emily's question?
yeah.
So one of the things John Croft talks about all the time is the reason most people's dreams don't come true is they don't share them with anyone. And so the way you get a group of 4 is that you keep sharing your dream everywhere and anywhere that you can until you find your dream team.
I wanted to say something else that I just discovered recently in this water stories project that I'm engaged in now. I don't know what John Croft would say, but I'm finding that even if I don't have a stable group of 4 at the moment, it doesn't mean I totally can't start my dream. It just means, because that happened to me actually, where I had some people working with me and I thought they were going to want to come for the whole ride, but they don't really. They want to come in and out of what I'm doing. But so I've started the dream, but I'm still able to look for 3 more people.
It's actually I find that the dream circles have a lot of magical powers, what I call it. I've done dream circles even for myself, or just like with Sarah when we went on vacation, could be personal dream, because when you like really allow yourself to tap into it, because this is a dream time, what they call, the energy starts moving and it, and something starts shifting, maybe not right away.
Right.
So I feel like it's a very mystical process. It requires a lot of just like trust into like the collective energy of the dream itself, because we come with the dreaming circle. Is it also, that's what they say in Dragon Dreaming, dreams are actually not, there are no personal dreams. Dreams are like, there is a dream world, and we as individuals, we tap into it.
They're already
And
out
based
there.
on who we are,
Essentially.
we connect to certain dreams. And then once a certain number of people connect to the same dream around the world, this is when it comes down to earth.
Can I turn the light off in this? It's just
Yes.
Annoying.
bugging my eyes. Thank you.
All right. So let's move to planning stage. So we have, could you read this, please, Taylor? What happens in planning?
Okay. What happens in planning is considering alternatives.
Alternatives?
Alternatives, sorry. Considering alternatives. Designing strategies. And testing prototyping.
All right. So now let's pick pictures for them.
I like this one for the testing prototypes for some reason. Like there's almost like each of those is like a different prototype or something. Thoughts?
No one's disagreeing.
Yeah, it's a good sign.
Does anyone in the room have a cell phone that they could log into the Zoom call with?
Yeah.
Because then Sa could like, have the phone look at Svetlana and who's ever speaking so I could see their faces. That would be super cool.
Thank you, Marianne, for your technological
Prowess.
So this is
I just want to see everybody's faces.
Marianne.
now designing strategies. You're also welcome to join if you like.
I kind of like the bridge one maybe for designing strategies. Because it just has a lot of design in it, architecturally. But if someone sees one they like more, that's okay too.
I like the idea of it's trying to get from point A to point B. So how do we do that? Like what the strategy of that?
Mm-hmm.
Is this okay with you?
It's okay with everyone?
All right. And consider alternatives.
I like this one. What I see here is the tree that was growing at some point but ended up dying back. But on the backside, it found a way to keep flourishing.
Wow.
That one also stuck out to me initially for the considering alternatives too.
Yeah.
Yeah, for like how plants have to adapt to.
Oh.
Did you get on Zoom?
Oh.
All right. So now look at all these pictures, dreaming and planning, and just feel the difference, like of energy, right?
Recording in progress.
Just mute it. Got it? All right. Okay.
I think I fixed it.
So for planning stage, okay, maybe let's take a minute of Pinakari. Do people want a minute of Pinakari?
Oh.
Oh, that's
So for planning, what happens in planning, and I appreciate us getting quieter. My nephew had to get up early tomorrow. So planning is a very like design stage in Dragon Dreaming. So there is several steps. This is the one that involves a lot of. Can everybody hear me there? Yeah, involves similar steps that a lot of people know in project management, like creating a vision and tasks and objectives. It's just there is a different approach to this. So there are certain differences that I'm not going to go into the details, but the final product of planning stage is we're creating what we call a game plan. And there is an Australian Aboriginal word for this, karabit, which means spiderweb, which it's kind of like a game board that shows all the tasks that we need to do to start the dream and come to where we want to be, and all the connections, the song lines, how they're connected, and also has such a timeline and the budget and then the roles. So this usually takes several meetings to work together, and that the main difference with typical way to approach that is the same team that dreamed ideally, but nobody's required to be there, but it's a collective planning. It's not just one person or two people, but people plan together and think about the task and go through this process together as well. Anybody wants to add anything about planning or ask questions?
I was surprised to find out I liked planning. Dragon Dreaming, it was the first time planning made any sense to me. And I think I'm mostly a planner dreamer.
Yeah, I'm feeling into the preconceived notions I have around planning.
Yeah.
And especially because it is so like desirable in like Western culture to be a good worker, and but like when I said the smaller ones, like when it's broken down, it feels really helpful, and trying not to let that stop me from looking into planning more.
Planning stage, that's where typically we say teamwork, the dragons are coming out, because people might have very different opinions, right, about how to do things. But then in Dragon Dreaming, we say that we dance with the dragons. We just stay with them until we find the ideas that kind of feel like a win-win for everyone. That's why planning and Dragon Dreaming in some ways can take a little bit, be a little bit longer, than if one person or two people who are used to like very good at planning do the planning. Do you know what I'm talking about?
And also, like with the chart that was up before, there's sometimes when you just feel like accommodating, when it's like a lose-win or a win-lose. But with this way of doing things, you really try to work it through. I don't know if I'd call it exactly consensus, but more that, I guess it is in a way, you work something through, so that everybody feels good about it. And when you're gearing it towards personal transformation, it's like dancing with those dragons is part of personal transformation. So it's not a detriment in a way. You're actually looking to dance with the dragons with other people, because that's part of when a personal transformation happens. And the other thing I just want to say quickly, in one undertaking that Svetlana Ferian and I did, this group about play called Play Work Learn, we did experience that, where there were certain times where there was tension. But we were really able to work it through because we felt committed to the project, but also to the idea of not letting those dragons or those shadow parts stop you.
Yeah, and another thing about planning is that something I want to say and I just lost my train of thought. I will come back. Oh, the project or the team can get stuck anywhere. So if the people are really stuck in planning, you know, what we recommend in Dragon Dreaming is to go back to dreaming and revisit the dream. Because it could be either too complex or not motivating enough for people to move, and with any stage, you know, people can get stuck. So that's why, as I say, it's the constantly moving model.
With the suggestion of going back to dreaming, if you get stuck in planning, let's say we were in doing and we got stuck, would you recommend just going just one back?
You do the review of the dreaming, because there's one card that I'm missing here. It's like you review the dream together. You read it again and see, does it still resonate with everybody? Do we need to simplify it? Do we need to add or remove anything? You know, we still together on this dreaming, and the solution could be, you know, maybe people change their mind because sometimes the projects also don't go through. And in Dragon Dreaming, this culture, we celebrate that as well.
This is so explaining. There's this one work project that failed horribly. I'm like, oh yeah, people totally were not bought into this at all.
Right.
Exactly.
And we were just trying to do a lot of that and that.
Because planning requires a lot of energy, and then why you want, it's kind of like a rite of passage planning, because if people can move through planning, then they're gonna do things. But they will only be willing to go through planning and if they're really connected to the dreaming.
Right.
You know, so and that takes us to the doing stage, which we have monitoring progress, implementation, and administration and management.
Those words come so. I don't know.
We're getting into the corporate level right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we won't let us.
This
That's
also
so
comes from Western project management.
Yeah.
And this is the idea also, like what's about great turning and the prophecies, like in indigenous culture, they say the eagle and the condor will fly together again. I don't know if you heard about it. And eagle is the northern hemisphere, representing more like white, like, you know, like more like mental stuff and masculine side. And then the condor is the southern hemisphere, representing intuition and the feminine side. And only when we combine both together and learn to work together, that's when we can create something new. So well, now let's find images for these streets. The wind. Okay, let's go. Okay, let's make it happen. And
Show me the images with the phone.
Let's get.
What's left?
And this one, don't forget
This
this
is one
one.
of them for sure.
Is that management? What is that one?
Yeah, I think so.
I think one of these should be implementation. Because it looks like people are like actually doing it.
Yeah, that's, I think Taylor has her finger on.
Okay, let's do it. Yeah.
Because it's like more than one factor, more person, or more than one.
Where are these images from?
It's from my collection. Years collected pictures.
Are they postcards or?
They're postcards.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then the monitoring
Yeah, we're
progress.
looking.
My thing on this is because it starts small and it kind of grows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But then this also kind of looks like a bar graph that's going to be switched.
To be
Yeah, but
honest,
we're gonna have celebration.
Yeah, and I see blessing going down.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So this will be our progress month. But it has to be this orientation for me.
Which put it the way she sees it. Yeah.
This
Yeah.
way? Or
Or
No,
yeah,
that
yeah,
way.
yeah.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
It looks like, are we floating or are we sinking?
We don't know.
No, the monitoring progress, like, are we floating or sinking?
So it's actually a really good point, right? Because when we monitor progress, we can discover that we are sinking. And then we have to go back to planning.
Yeah, that's a great image. I love it.
Yeah, so in the doing stage, essentially, we use that game board where we have all the tasks and we just do it. Just do the tasks and
Figure out what, yeah.
and keep going. And then comes the celebration stage, my favorite one. So what does that mean? So when we feel like it's an example of your company, particularly the plan has been implemented, and it feels like it came to some kind of completion, or we think we need to move into the next stage. So that means, and in this case, if we follow that, once we completed the cycle of what we are envisioning and planning, we're gonna have a big celebration. And again, like, because it's fractal, there is certain area
Yeah.
in each one of them. You know, like even this is why we have three, because each one of them represents in doing. There is a dreaming doing, planning doing, and doing.
Oh.
But there's also a celebrating in each stage.
This was one of the
I can just give a little plug for Lisandra Barbuto, who's been working with John Croft the last decade or so. And when she met him, the wheel was like this. And she's like, it can't be a fractal if there's only 3 things and a 4th part thing. It has to be 4. So what's the 4th one? And in the middle, he just had a feedback loop, right? So that every time you went through the process of like, oh, I have a dream, I have a plan, I'm going to do it, you would just enter the feedback loop. And she helped him name what each one of those celebration modes were.
So for dreaming review, planning that remember.
I have them right here. Hold on. I don't memorize them yet. So for dreaming, it's review. For planning, it's reconsidering the plan. For doing, it's reevaluating. Now that you've done it, can you reevaluate? And then for celebration, it's reflection. Celebrating both the good things that happened and the bad things that happened and the whatever things, everything.
Thank you, Marian. And the other steps for celebrating, we have so acquiring new skills will be more like dreaming. Transforming results, it's like, I don't remember, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say that each one of them represents a fractal, but the 3 of them is acquiring new skills, transformative results, so transforming results, and discerning wisdom. And then there is a reflection.
The planning is transforming results, and the discerning wisdom is the doing. Like you're actively, what did we learn from what we just did?
So I was right then. So acquiring new skills is dreaming, right? Dreaming, celebrating. Transformative results, planning, celebrating. So I was right then. So acquiring new skills is dreaming, right?
Yes,
Dreaming,
absolutely.
celebrating.
Cyberspace is just echoing your thoughts.
Yeah.
Literally and metaphorically.
So let's do the last.
So now we're just sorting.
acquiring new skills, transforming
I feel
results.
like you had a vision for this card.
I did.
So I wanna go back to you on this vision.
I don't know. Maybe transforming results?
Because it
Is
looks
that
like it's
like
changing.
manifesting, aka receiving the blessings of bringing
Right.
forth what we wanted?
I think it means if we're celebrating, you're celebrating what the transforming results were, or how you were transformed
As a result of this.
as a
project.
result of the project. So in other words, yeah.
So do we,
Hey, this one
the
kind of-
colors are
Yeah.
throwing me off.
That
Like
looks-
now I'm wondering if this is discerning wisdom because it's different shades
Yeah.
of blue.
Yeah.
And so you're not, like they're the same substance, but there's.
Discerning which shade of blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
And I
that.
think transforming results, this looks like it is transformed or transforming.
It's like morphing
Yeah,
in and
yeah,
out of itself.
something changed.
And that can only leave.
Acquiring new skills.
Mhm.
And then, would you,
It's discerning wisdom.
thank you so much.
Cool beans.
I haven't heard that in a while.
That was amazing teamwork. Look at that.
I love that image. It's beautiful.
Oh, it's just
I think we celebrate.
yeah.
We just got through the whole, by we're together. So what can we celebrate?
We could discern some wisdom.
Yeah, and this is one how moments happen usually. So this one we realized we learned something that we didn't know that we knew, or we didn't know that we didn't know.
So I'm wondering if from this process, not to put anyone on the spot at all, but if there's anyone who feels that there's some discerning wisdom that happened. Just from going through.
Well,
this.
I can start because for me, I feel like this is the first time I did it with the images and inviting people to participate in the wheel. And as you know, some of you heard, I did a lot of years teaching with children, and I learned that, like, I feel like when it's more engaging and like the way you came in and what I've heard, like how you brought in the images and how it can be different for other people and it's still right. I feel like I now like see this, like I know it a little bit deeper, like thanks to like you bringing in your how you see that, because it's a pretty complex artifact, like what we call it, that we use, or the tool. It's a pretty complex tool.
Wow. I felt pretty calm but pretty bored. So I think that my discerning wisdom is that of these characteristics, my most gifted natural ones would be doing and celebrating. So I'm glad to have the purpose of doing the video and tending the fire, or else I would need something else to do.
So you want something about, discuss something about yourself.
Yeah.
Wow. Really helpful for feeling like I've done a lot of doing and noticing I've been judging myself somewhat for not doing as much recently, but kind of appreciating, I've done a lot of that, and like I think my body's like taking a break for a little bit, but I still really like it. So I'll probably, I don't know when I'll ramp back up. But also I'm connecting with a sense of like closure that's created in the celebrating. Like even
even like this reflecting on skills gain. I'm like, oh yeah, hadn't thought about that. I'll definitely use this in the next few days.
You're welcome to take a picture if
I
you
was
want.
gonna ask that, yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome to.
I know for me, it's kind of cool. I felt really fortunate that some people wanted to use my example, which was nice because that was helpful. And I'm like almost celebrating within the dreaming phase that like, oh yeah, I have started gathering information. Like I have like reached out to people to get their input on this idea I have, and I'm also wanting to work in the therapeutic space. So seeing like this actual process of like the laminated cards and the photos, and I'm like, oh, this is so great for breaking down ideas. And yeah, I didn't know what I was coming to today. And there's like this moment that I'm like, oh, I think I'm supposed to be here. So I'm feeling like I'm servicing.
I think I've felt this before, but I'm gonna just say that a discerning wisdom of this introductory session, and even the ones I've gone further in, is how the process encourages my feeling completely comfortable working with other people that I don't know. And it's like a really different experience of community, or another experience of community building, like another way. And I think it's part that it's very clear, even though I still have to go over it over and over sometimes. But it's in a lot of ways very clear, but also that there is an openness every time we've done anything with it. People that come want to be here, and so there's an openness to exploring together. And I think encouraging that, if you're doing a project or working with the community, like to just encourage an openness to exploring together, not like the answer only, but an openness is like so important, so crucial.
I think personally for me, I feel like I do really well with dreaming, and sometimes too well with doing, and not enough celebrating, and getting scared of planning. Planning can be really overwhelming for me, because I get caught up in the details of things, and so I kind of get stuck there. And then I start feeling bad for myself because I feel like I can't do anything or finish anything. And then I like do a little descent into my soul and having to like process a lot of questions I have around what it is that I'm doing and why I'm doing it. But I feel in my body what's needed. That's always my remembrance. And I also wanted to point out, like, with these two, it was interesting how there's like 3 cards that color-wise go together, and then there's this dark one. And then here there's reds, but there's this dark one. And I just finished listening to this podcast, in the Kin Spirit podcast, created by Daje. She calls herself a story doula, and she reads words like nobody ever heard.
I know that.
Yeah, and she was talking about women who run with wolves and how there's this. Me too. I'm gonna start a red tank group and and do a study around that book, but just some background.
Yes.
I'm I'm a certified death doula, and so I kind of see death in all things. And so yeah, like considering alternatives, like that means you might have to let a part of yourself or your dream go in order for it to fully evolve into what it needs to be. And that can be really sad. But seeing as this tree is still thriving, that's still a part of you. And you'll always have that. And even with here, like motivation, sometimes you might be shrouded in darkness, but you still have that momentum, that North Star guiding you.
Thank you everybody. And this makes me think of,
Can we ask people in Zoomland if they want to speak?
oh yeah,
We forgot for a minute.
Well, there's 6 people, not just me. They're no of their cameras off. But maybe somebody wants to say something.
Thank you, Farian, for saying. I know that Kimberly wanted to just listen to it. But if Montana wants to share anything, you don't have to.
I can add that I definitely think we acquired some new technology skills. I feel like I'm in the room now, that like the phone is looking at people while they speak, but I'm also have another picture of the room, so it's really weird and awesome. Thank you, Saw.
Thank you for giving this idea, Farian. I love that. But talking about technology, I want to say it's so rich, and it's a good example. Like, we cannot be good at everything. It's impossible. We can't expect it out of ourselves. But that's why we need team, and we need to respect each other for who we are. And most recently, Jill, Sai, and I, we were like here in this week. What blossomed is our new collaboration, creative collaboration, which has been coming from different dreamings. Like I've had some dreams about it. Jill had some dreams. Sai had some, her own dreams. Like in some ways we interacted and it wasn't happening, and now it happened. Like we all came together, and I want to share with everybody the result of our collaboration that we filmed today. And I will share the screen now, but first I'm going to find it. It's 4 minutes long. And Jill, if you want to say a few words about it while I'm looking for it.
It's on that sheet.
Whose words is it?
So this was not just a collaboration with the 3 of us, because it came out of, this is also how one dream leads to or spirals to another. So Svetlana had this dream of having an online cafe, Dragon Dreaming online cafe. And so we've done 2 of them now. Farian and Svetlana and I have been planning them, but they're planned with the idea of being open, just like a skeleton sort of. And so the last one we did was about dreaming, because they're related to Dragon Dreaming. And after we had gone through a lot of information and sort of exercises about for closing, I've developed this practice of making collective poems. And I've done it with children. I started with children, and we're doing it with adults now. Of you give like a prompt, and everyone in that prompt. So it's something that brings you all together, but you have your own idea, your own images. And then I take all the lines and just arrange them in some way that makes sense to me. And so this poem came out of that closing exercise for the online cafe that had to do with dreaming. But then I had a dream of having Sa play music, because she's done that for me, with me before, including for my 70th birthday, which was amazing. She wrote a song for me and played it. And then Svetlana is amazing at movement. So we started, that was part of this. We started, we did one piece about that, but the piece you're gonna see now was, Svetlana has also had a dream about what she started to do with, about a YouTube whatever you call it, station, and is really enjoying doing videography for the first time. And so the piece that you're going to see now is the poem. It's a very long winded description, but is the poem that came out of, I think there were 10 or 12 people.
Or 25.
Oh, excuse me, I'm bad at math. Who each gave lines. Some people gave more than one line, some people only one. And my reading them and saw improvising, I might add, music, and Svetlana doing videography at the Rose Garden place, which is like a cafe in a little rose garden.
And that particular wine cafe, the topic of that was about dreaming.
Yeah.
So, and then the next one we're gonna have is about celebration, which we'll be happy to invite you to. But here you go.
Dreaming is the beginning as possibilities. Dreaming is all around us, is time traveling. It is life-giving, life-affirming. Dreaming is becoming vulnerable. It is fluid. Traveling into the future. And dreaming is connecting to the sun too, as another living being. That usually gets left out of the equation. Dreaming is loving energy, like wonder, remembering. In dreaming, I can bring loved ones that I have lost close to me. I can feel like a child. Dreaming is celestial. Dreams as seeds along with our words are thrown in the air, allows permission and surrender, a place of gratitude, a whisper, and everything on earth can dream. Dreaming is deep listening and manifesting possibility. There's personally mentioned a form of receiving instructions, materializing the future. Dreaming unifies. It is all around us. It is unity and magic. Dreaming together, that's unity. Life affirming. Dreaming awakes the creative cauldron from within, with each other in unity. Dreaming is sacred imagination, the place where hearts meet as one in joy and laughter and love. Dreaming is real, yes. A place where we are inviting each other to come. Invite the expansion of possibility. Dreaming is a way to find each other.
replays right away? That was awesome.
I particularly love the ending because I could tell you made that video today because of the moon phase, and that tomorrow would be our meeting. So our Dragon Dreaming group has been meeting on the quarter moons and the full moon and the new moon. And it has made my life so wonderful because I can just look up at the sky and be like, oh, we're meeting soon. It's made it very easy for me to be at meetings or know when they are.
Yeah, days happen on full moons. So the next one is December 26th, and it's a full moon. It's traditionally time of gathering when people around the world, like in tribal cultures, gather to celebrate.
Is that winter solstice?
No, winter solstice in the 21st or 22nd. So let's have another Pinakari. So we have about 10 minutes left, and people, whatever, who wants can stay maybe 10 more minutes so we can finish. Okay, and if people need to leave on Zoom, that's fine too. But before you leave, I'm gonna share with you, Jill and I, we created a Google form with a few questions. It shouldn't take a long time for you, maximum 10 minutes, maybe even less to complete. But I would just post it in here on Zoom, and also email people, so you can do it, people on Zoom, like now or like as soon as it's possible for you, because usually if you don't do it soon, then you forget about it, right? We wanted to have some extra time. And meanwhile, while I'm doing this, what I would like to do, the celebration part of this, what we call like harvesting wisdoms, and also sharing a little bit about like practical, like new skills and transforming without practical applications, what it could look like in real life to go through the dragon dreaming process. And I would like first, like Jill and Marianne share a little bit about these projects, and then people who are new, you can bring in your own projects, ask the questions, practical questions in this remaining time. And while we're doing this, I've been finding more dragons in the Russian store. It's next year's the year of the dragon, lunar. So I've been
Well, that's a
finding
big year.
some chocolate dragons here, some adding my collection.
Oh my gosh.
But there is also Russian chocolate that you're welcome to have.
On Zoom.
Oh my god.
We'll send you some.
And there is also gifts when you leave, and maybe I can mail or see others who couldn't make it. Jill and I, we made these candle shells in my kitchen, and my sister right here. All right. So who would like to share a little bit about practical actual projects? Who'd like to start, Jill or Marianne?
Well, I can talk a little bit more about play work learning. We actually aren't meeting anymore, but it sort of came to its, I would say came to a natural death. It's not like it, I don't know, it just ran its course. And it was an amazing project. But it started with Svetlana and Marianne, and then me, I came on, sort of dreaming and planning. And what I want to share about it is that we had a couple of dreaming circles with a lot of people in them. People that were invited, you know, that everybody knew somebody, and to be invited. And the dreaming circles were incredibly rich in terms of giving idea, you know, like thoughts and experiences that have to do with play. Because the whole idea is that the idea of thinking that play is essential, no matter what your age or what's happening, and that it's actually a life's work to play. So, and you learn from it. So, anyway, these dreaming are incredible. In terms of discerning it. But not everybody came to the dreaming circle at time. Ended up forming a continuum group. And it really goes this hard wisdom, because all the people that ended up coming in were definitely incorporated in them by those of us that did. And then it turned there was groups of 6 or 7 of us. Marianne was in the obviously Hana, and he was in it, but there were a sizable group of us that met and played together online and on this rapid confusion. Played together, explored, played, talking about it, brought whatever experience they might like, whatever we in so many ways, and then we did meet face in person for retreat and things. So, you know, the thing is that the project really evolved and changed, but was able to be true to the core.
My favorite thing about that project is that I was able to invite one of my favorite professors, and he ended up taking all the things that we talked about, turning it into a play manifesto. But in one of our meetings, he said that was the longest, most productive, funnest meeting I've ever been in my life. And it's because can you guys see the screen? Right, I love this. Part of Dragon Dreaming is to become an empty-centered organization, or eco. Right, and we've had these hierarchical organizations where humans think they're better than every other living being on the planet, and what we need to move towards. And just to give you an idea of the process, if I can scroll here, this was a retreat that we had in June for our Dragon Dreaming group. This was our designing regenerative projects of Dragon Dreaming with Earthling communities for the Great Turning. And this is our plan. So the plan is a spider web. It's called a Kerbert, which is the word for spider web in Nungar. And these are all the tasks that have to happen. And these colored lines are the song lines, because the Nungar people, this is how they navigate the world, through song lines, even their maps. And since we all didn't live together or work together, I created an online Caribert. This is a program called Miro. And so here's the dreaming phase is in yellow, the planning is in white, the doing is in red, and the black is the celebration. And the first thing when you're doing this project, you do a dreaming circle, then you do a whole playful way of creating the tasks and the objectives. It's a lot like backwards design. And it's a series of like converging out into the field and gathering as much as you can and then coming back in and then going out. It's like breathing almost. So this is our Caribert. And when you put the tasks on the Caribert in the third stage in the just going from planning to doing, you see right away if your project is balanced. Like you can see we still are a little bit heavy in the doing versus, we're pretty good, we're pretty balanced, but you can tell doing has a little bit more because it's part of our westernized culture. And so it's a really visual way to see. And you can see like this here, this task, do the workshop, is got a lot of ins and a lot of outs, right? So it also gives you, for those people who are visual, and here's another one that has a lot of things going in, updating our website. And so when we have our meetings, we review the Caribert, and we have this little code here that shows not started yet, it's a quarter done, it's a half done, it's 3/4 done, it's all done. And what I love about this, for me, for planning, it's the first time it made sense to me, is that once you've created this plan collectively, you dream together, you create this whole plan together, then every person decides what they want to sign up on. This one is pink because we haven't found an IT person yet, needs help. Right, so this is Svetlana is the little fox. We have little animals letting people know where we're at. So this one is finished. We turned it black. And so so when you're done with this whole plan, people look at this Caribert and they're like, oh, what am I really excited about? And then as you meet, you look at the plan and see like, where are we? What has to be done? And you can add deadlines to it, but so it's kind of like a flow chart. And then we added a Kanban to it, which I never heard of before, but it's basically a to-do list, and you can move things to in progress or done, so we can keep track of like our tasks. And then these are the roles that we created with a facilitator. We worked with another Dragon Dreamer named Tanya from, she's from an organization called Organic Organizations, which is helping organizations become empty-centered. And these are all our different roles. And yeah, so this is what we're doing to organize ourselves. And here's our little icons so that we can let people know where we're working, and when we're not working, we can be in the nest.
Thank you, Marianne.
And the last thing I want to say, like, that looks super complex, right? But part of Dragon Dreaming that I love about it is that we are capable of understanding complexity. And so this whole idea of like trying to make everything so simplified that it loses its essence is also not helpful. And not to overthink things, like not to get into analysis paralysis, but we are capable, if we work together collectively, to create a complex systematic plan that we then individually, and each task is not by yourself, you're doing it with other people, but it gives autonomy to people. And then as a group, you might be like, oh, this particular task, this is the thing that we all have to make a decision on.
Yeah, thank you, Farian. I want to just give Taylor you an opportunity now at the end of it, like to introduce yourself a little bit, and then the projects, organizations like you're part of, and what would you like, if you have any practical questions or anything like that.
Okay.
I'm Taylor. And I guess I can start with the organization I'm a part of, which is Island Cultures. It's based in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and the island refers to the marginalized part of Winston-Salem, which is basically East Winston, that has been redlined and cut off from resources. And so our mission is igniting a culture of liberation. And so we're basically curating different programs to like see where people are in their journey towards self-actualization and different resources that can be helpful for the community. Like we have a grassroots growers group, and we just met yesterday. We had a whole potluck and we drank and started thinking about what are our next steps. So that was really cool. And we even hosted we had an event where Bicicleta from Colombia came to talk to us about the campesina struggle in Colombia, and that was amazing. We have had her tour with Salem, and we're gonna connect a stronger bond with them there. But yeah, I really love this organization with all my heart. And I'm really glad that I found people to work with in this line of things. And personally, I am slowly working on starting a business myself called Arum Wellness. Arum is a genus of lilies, and one of my favorite ones is this spider lily that's really beautiful and moves in different ways. And it's a popular flower in Japanese culture. And it's kind of referring to like the death doula side of who I am and what I want my business to offer. But I'm also still trying to see what it can all look like. And what services am I providing? Like a part of me wants to create a space in which we can all be a community, asking good questions and dreaming together and helping each other move through these processes, so that you don't feel so stuck and lost in it all. And I also want to hold more grief circles together, because last year and the majority of this year, I experienced a grief I had never experienced before. No longer talking to my best friend, who I was also in love with, and that's kind of what led me into becoming a death doula, was that really raw descent into my soul. And so I really feel people, to the point that I'm trying to switch into another job or basically jump more into my wellness business, because I get really overstimulated during the day with everyone pulling my energy and leaving me, and that can be a lot sometimes. So yeah, I'm into a lot. I want to do so much for the world and people, and I feel like permaculture has really bridged that for me. So yeah. I don't know if any of that makes sense, but that was all of me.
Totally makes sense.
I'm celebrating the happy visioning and it's a perfect time. I like to do listening. This one just for fun. How many people have
Yesterday, I think we were about three of us. This isn't very great.
What's the name of the group again, Taylor?
Island
Island
cultures.
Island Cultures.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
We have a 30-second, we're running the card. I want to get everything out that you said.
So Kimberly just wrote, thank you for this evening. It was nice to still be able to listen in and learn more about dragon dreaming. I must get going now, but sending you all a big hug on your dreaming journeys. I love the vision and process. Good night. And Montana said, I'm going to head out also. Thank you for this beautiful evening. So let's see if you have any, Emily and James, if you have any questions or shares, or do you feel complete? I just want to check in with you.
Two questions I have. One is, let's say we get stuck at the doing phase, or we get stuck at the celebrating phase. Is the invitation always to come back to the dreaming and almost start from the beginning again?
Well, you see, like everybody's welcome from what I understand. There's no like one right answer, right? But what I would do, I think, I would always go one step back and see if that helps me to move it. Then that is where the blockage is, because there is also another workshop, is overcoming blockages. But you know, if that doesn't help, then step back again. And sometimes it could be clear. Sometimes I think it's just not like it could be clear that you have to go all the way back to dream. If you're not clear about it, I personally would take one step back.
Yeah, that's really helpful. The other question, you mentioned a few times celebrating even things that were difficult. I'm wanting to get more clarity on what that might look like.
Yeah, I would actually like Sa to talk about that, because Sa created, like, you know, in Dragon Dreaming, there is also innovations, there is a process, it's an open source organization, so we can use the tools. And then it's actually an international, there's an international Dragon Dreaming movement. And then people come up with innovations throughout the process. And Sa, I felt like she came up and helped me with a really important innovation that could be applied into dreaming, into planning. Would you like to talk about that?
Well, what are you thinking of about a difficulty?
Yeah, like
The-
traditional celebrations.
The camera's off, Svetlana, on Taylor's phone.
Traditional celebrations, I think of we hit the number, we achieve our goals, and learning actions might be like, oh, this is what we can take later. But there's something really confronting that was difficult, what went bad, that I don't feel like I have a map for how to navigate that.
I see you doing it with your breath, the way you are. And it's just adding some kind of verbal thing to respect what you're sending that breath to. Whatever the discomfort is, whatever that it deserves respect
just like the yahoos, equal respect.
Hmm. Hmm.
So first time I did the dreaming circle, I'm just gonna add to this. Sai's very practical. She just gave me very practical advice. But conceptually, I will explain what happened with this innovation. So when I did the first dreaming circle in my ALC Mosaic school community last year, we came together, a group of dream team, because people wanted to bring in more community and culture. And we started created and eventually what's called community culture circle that functioned for a year. And when we came for dreaming circle, usually everybody sharing their dreams, Sal was a part of it. And then people oftentimes when they share their dreams, they kind of offers, it's so amazing, so great, but then there is some kind of really and especially when moving into planning, something comes up for them, stirs, right? And then I talked to Sa and then we need to do a dragon circle. So it's a dragon dreaming. So dreaming is something that feels light and exciting and exhilarating, bring people together. And dragons, it's like the shadow side that we all have. We come with our own personal blockages and limiting beliefs. We also come with cultural ones, ancestral ones, social conditioning ones, experience with other people. And in the process, especially of planning and doing, it gets triggered. So, but then this is why I believe it's an innovation, because if you start acknowledging them at the dreaming stage, we get clear about who we are and what we're bringing with us into the mix. Because we can't separate, people say we can I believe we cannot separate our own personality or ego from what we're doing. It's going to come in, especially in our triggered states and weak points. So to be able to name and acknowledge is what we call it, we dance with the dragons. What does that mean? We don't ignore them, we don't avoid them, we don't pretend that they don't exist. We also don't try to kill them or slaughter them, but we just name them and celebrate them, by what means celebrate. Some people don't connect to the word celebration, but acknowledging their presence. And oftentimes, at least, I don't know, for me, it worked a lot with children when I worked for 20 years. When you acknowledge a child's resistance or whatever, they're not used to that. They just look at me like, yeah, you're really having a hard time and you don't want to do this. Right, yeah, I see that. Oftentimes it moves the energy forward. And sometimes it doesn't. And once I worked with one student, I said, well, I even talked about this. So what do you do when you get in a stuck place? And he just thought about it and said, sometimes I take a break and sometimes I break through. And so every time in our sessions we got into a stuck place, I would ask him, well, what do you think you need now, a break or a breakthrough? And then he would tell me. And sometimes I would push him and tease him, this Dancing with the Dragons, I would tease him a little bit. What if just a little bit more? And then if so I think adults are not much different than children.
Yeah. Just over.
This is what I discovered.
Yeah.
But what I learned from both children and adults, if there is too much resistance, and you have to acknowledge that, and you need to give it time. And in the Dragon Dreaming Organic Organization, there's another, we have that in our team. We call something called care meetings. And we're just developing it. But how can we care about, because you can't push people and move forward unless they can get acknowledged, and sometimes they need something extra. like a healing or a rest or a break. And as a facilitator who can notice these things, and you don't have the answers oftentimes. Like there's something you learned, Jill, you could say about facilitation you shared with me. Like when you facilitated the dreaming circle with my family the other day.
I think what it was.
You said that when you facilitate with the circle, you learn and you realize more and more that it's all about trust.
Yeah,
You don't know what's gonna happen, you don't have the answers.
right. You don't have the answers, and also, I think a lot of times it's asking people to acknowledge that nobody has all the answers, including the facilitator. But that what you do have is the trust that it can be worked through.
It's a system that allows for emergence.
Yes.
So, which is really different. And I just remembered what I wanted to say after Taylor spoke, how much she wants to do. And I don't know, this might have been said, but part of I think Svetlana said that, but I think part of why this is so powerful compared to our Western way of working is that the dreaming and the celebrating generate a lot of energy, while the planning and the doing deplete a lot of energy. And dreamers are often, dismissed. And sometimes planners are even dismissed because it's like, let's just do it. Celebrators are definitely dismissed. And so it allows for everyone's strengths to really be harnessed in a whole new way.
Yeah.
And it's really it's like really developing like a new culture, but it's specifically, the other thing is to remember, it's for projects that are win-win-win. Win for self-development, win for the earth, and win for community. So like just explicitly saying that each individual's personal growth is part of the project's success, I think that alone is pretty revolutionary compared to Western. Like even in schools, it's sort of said, but it's not really acknowledged. Like you're supposed to go and do workshops, or doctors are supposed to go and do, continuing education. But as a group, to actually witness and be part of that process with each other.
I think also because it is that I keep coming back to this, I guess, in different ways, but it's important to sort of be transparent about that. And that's a very vulnerable place for a lot of people, leading and facilitating and being facilitated, but I think it's really important, and I think that it really goes a long way towards building trust. And I know transparency has sort of become a political term now, but that's not the kind I'm talking about. Just this idea of even what you were talking about, James, but of as much as possible engaging, and what Ferry-Ann said about emerging, engaging in something together. I know sometimes also when I've worked with children and I'm presenting them with something that I know is such a different way of doing something, like even an arts activity that I'm doing, especially like with 10 through 12-year-olds or something, I say to them when I start, I know I'm going to be sharing things with you that might be really different or new, but I'm asking you to come along for the ride. Literally, that's what I've said. I'm asking you to come along for the ride, and let's see where it goes. And also the other thing I want to say that isn't exactly this, but it's the same kind of thinking. Sometimes when I've worked with children and adults, I've said, you know, if you're feeling like you're just not really present or following whatever we're doing, it's okay to daydream. To go off on a daydream, and especially with children, I can't tell you how shocked they are. When they look at me and they say, seriously? So it's just this continual acknowledgement, and even in a corporate situation, I feel like it could be important. Maybe I'm being naive, but I don't think so. Of just acknowledging that you're exploring something together, and that it's a process.
Yeah. Wow, it's been so rich. Let's have another pinna curry, and let's close with some kind of quick checkout. We can get us into.
So I just had an idea for a checkout. But also I want to just reiterate what Svetlana said about filling out the whatever they are,
Feedback
reflection, feedback, things that for both for us and for us, I think it's really important, because one thing that's really important is tonight's going to end, and hopefully I won't be here because I'm flying back to New York, but because you're local, hopefully, I hope that you'll want to take a longer workshop to go deeper with Svetlana. But one way for tonight, just not to end just when you walk out the door, is to continue the conversation. And the way to do that really for the moment is to fill out those sheets. So.
I just want to say, I just started laughing. Something just hit me. There was a training with corporate I did related to change management, and the 5 stages that we walked through were represented by the letters DMAIC. It was define, measure, analyze, implement, control. And I just think of how all those words, how just dead they feel. And like there wasn't any celebrating or dreaming in any, and I'm like, oh, no wonder people don't like that.
What's wrong here?
And I want to just also add that feedback and reflection is a part of celebration, and it allows integration.
Yeah.
And oftentimes we feel like we don't have time for it, but it's like with food and anything else, just keep going and going and going. And sometimes it's hard to find time, myself including, to take this pause and breath and like. So we're inviting you to do this. We wanted to have you do it now, but also we didn't maybe have to work on time management a little bit, but it's all came together.
So here's the closing. I'm thinking, and I don't know, maybe we can record this and we can do another group form.
It's recorded.
Oh, right. Magic of whatever it is. I'm thinking if you could choose one of these words that you're not comfortable with, and this is the phrase, I never knew that, and either planning, doing, celebrating, or dreaming, I never knew that blank, that blank was blank. Never knew that blank was blank. So I'll start. It could be is also if that's, but I hope you get the main idea. Okay. I actually take a second to think which word you're gonna do because I came up with the idea, but I didn't find the word I want.
I'm ready.
Oh, good. Go for it, Anne.
I never knew that monitoring progress could lead to discerning wisdom.
You just do.
Remind me again, I never knew that blank could lead to blank.
Yeah, or it could be
Any
or
verb you can put in.
was or is.
Okay.
Well, I can say I have something. I like looking at the pictures that you chose. You really helped me. I never knew that planning is so beautiful.
I never knew that planning could invoke community building.
I never knew that planning, honest, could be referred to and likened to dancing.
I never knew that doing and planning generally use energy, and celebrating and dreaming build energy.
You have another one?
So helpful.
For me, I would say I never knew planning was so connected to my worth. Yeah, like a lot of this triggers the heck out of me. Yeah.
Wow.
Like considering alternatives sometimes makes me feel like I'm not enough, that my idea didn't land well with others, when my whole purpose is landing well with others. Or even like testing prototyping, like that's scary. What does that look like? Am I like totally missing the mark?
I'm really thankful for your share. It reminds me exactly what we just talked about with celebrating, of also like acknowledgement and giving like equal representation for like the things that were difficult. And thank you for naming that. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much. And Michael J. Road, sorry I have to leave. Good seeing everyone. Wow. we're gonna be ending the meeting. It's
Michael was in there? I didn't even know.
Yeah, he was,
Oh.
Taylor, she met
I
Michael.
did know that celebrating can lead to transformative results.
I'm gonna stop the recording, okay?
Yes, thank you.